गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन जमुनातीरा वनचारी यमुनातीरा वनचारी जयो राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज विहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज विहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गिरिधारी श्री राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय गौरानिताय जय निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल जयम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्री श्री अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. All glories to the assembled devotees. Welcome to our morning session of Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll begin with reading Srila Prabhupada's from Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita. I am on page number 152, chapter 42, Developing Mayapur. Throughout the month of June, Prabhupada continued to live happily and peacefully in the not yet completed building of the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. Although he had been ill with a cough since Los Angeles, a cough he had been unable to cure while traveling in the West. On coming to Mayapur, his health had recovered. In Mayapur, I am much improved from how I was in Los Angeles. The great advantage here is that there's always open air and a good breeze, which is naturally very good for any breathing difficulties. Certainly, Mayapur is by far a better place than Los Angeles because you can enjoy the free air here. Climate is not too hot but a little moist with humidity, but on the whole, it is very pleasing. Our building is most super excellently situated, and it is the experience of many respectable outsiders that while the outer atmosphere is unbearably hot, in our building it is pleasing. Prabhupada praised the constant pleasurable breezes that passed through the building. He called them Vaikuntha breezes. Sometimes, however, a violent storm would suddenly appear. Although severe, these storms were also beautiful, with continuous lightning like neon lights filling the sky. One day, a storm arose, and the winds began to howl through the building. Noticing that Prabhupada's doors and windows were open, Satadhanya rushed into the room and began frantically closing them. But Prabhupada, seated at his desk, said, "Stop, leave all the windows open." "Prabhupada," Satadhanya protested, "the storm is here." "Just leave them open," Prabhupada said. As the wind rushed through his room at more than 50 miles an hour, Prabhupada smiled. "There's no place in the world like this," he said, his saffron robes billowing. Prabhupada stood on the roof of his Mayapur building, looking over at the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, less than a mile away. "Actually," he said to Bhavananda Maharaj, "the claim to the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not very important. Is Krishna famous for having been born in Mathura? No. He is famous for his activities. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not famous for having been born in Mayapur. He is famous for his activities, for his Sankirtan preaching. This Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir is the preaching of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, I want a place that is so attractive because of the activities of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that everyone will come here." Jai Srila Prabhupada. Such beautiful text that it feels like continue reading from there. So our verse for today is from chapter 26, canto 5, verse number 6, a description of the hellish planets. यत्रहा यत्रहा अव ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Let's read this. यत्र ह वाव भगवान् पितृराजो वैवस्वतः स्वविषयं प्राप्तेषु स्वपुरुषैर्जन्तसु सम्परेतेषु यथा कर्मवाद्यं दोषम् एवानुलङ्घिता भवच्चाशना सगनोदमं धारयति। यत्र ह वाव भगवान् पितृराजो वैवस्वतः स्वविषयं प्रापितेषु स्वपुरुषैर्जन्तुषु सम्परेतेषु यथा कर्मावदयम् दोषमेवानुलङ्घिता भगवच्चाशना सङ्गोदमं धारयति यत्र वाव भगवान् पितृराजो वैवस्वतः स्वविषयं प्रापितेषु स्वपुरुषैर्जन्तसु सम्परेतेषु यथा कर्मावदयं दोषमेवानुलङ्घिता भवच्चाशना सङ्गनोदमं धारयति. Would anyone want to recite this?
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam.
Hare
I'm trying to
Krishna.
do.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yatraha vavo bhagavan pitridajo vaivasvataha svishayam prapiteshu svapurushairjantushu samporeteshu jatha karma bandham dosham evanullanghita bhagavachasana sagano damam dharayati. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yatra bhava bhagavan pitrirajo vaivasvataha svishayam prapiteshu svapurushair jantushu samporeteshu jatha karmavadyam dosham evanullonghito bhagavat chasanaha sagano damam dharayati. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
यत्र हवाः भगवान् पितृराजो वैवस्वता स्वाविष्यं प्रापितेषु स्वपुरुषैर्जन्तुषु सम्परेतेषु यथा कर्म आवादयं दोषम् एवानुलङ्घिता भगवच्चाशनः सङ्गनोदमं धारयति. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Mataji. Anyone else? Okay, then we can move to synonyms and translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yatra, where, havava, indeed, Bhagavan, the most powerful, Pitrarajaha, Yamaraj, the king of the Pitas, Vaivasvataha, the son of the sun god, Svavishayam, his own kingdom, Prapiteshu, when caused to reach, Swapurushai, by his own messengers, Jantushu, the human beings, Sampareteshu, dead, Yatha karma avadyam, according to how much they have violated the rules and regulations of conditional life, Dosham, the fault, Eva, certainly, Anulanghita Bhagavat Shashanaha, who never oversteps the Supreme Personality of Godhead's order. Saganaha, along with his followers, Damam, punishment, Dharayati, executes. Is there any volunteer who would like to read the translation and the purport?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
The translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The king of the Pitas is Jamraja, the very powerful son of the sun god. He resides in Pitraloka with the personal assistants, and while abiding by the rules and regulations set down by the Supreme Lord, has his agents, the Yamadutas, bring all the sinful men to him immediately upon their death. After bringing them within his jurisdiction, he properly judges them according to their specific sinful activities and sends them to one of the many hellish planets for suitable punishments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, beta, may I read the purport?
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yamraj is not a fictitious or mythological character. He has his own abode Pitralok, of which he is king. Agnostics may not believe in hell, but Sukdev Goswami affirms the existence of the Narak planets, which lie between the Garbha Daksh Ocean and Patal Lok. Yamraj is appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to see that the human beings do not violate his rules and regulations, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4:17. Karmano hiyapi bandha vayam बोधव्यं च विक्रमाना आकर्मणश्च बोधव्यं गहना कर्मणो गतिः. The intricacies of actions are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly that action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. One should understand the nature of karma, vikarma, and akarma, and one must act accordingly. This is the law of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conditioned souls who have come to this material world for sense gratifications are allowed to enjoy their senses under certain regulative principles. If they violate these regulations, they are judged and punished by Yamraj. He brings them to the hellish planets and properly chastises them to bring them back to Krishna consciousness. By the influence of Maya, however, the conditioned souls remain infatuated with the mode of ignorance. Thus, in spite of repeated punishment by Yamaraj, they do not come to their senses, but continue to live within the material condition, committing sinful activities again and again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिकृष्णदास गोस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे. So I'll read the translation one more time, but just before, give me a second. The king of the Pitas is Yamraj. the very powerful son of the sun god. He resides in Pitralok with his personal assistants, and while abiding by the rules and regulations set down by the Supreme Lord, has his agents, the Yamaduta, bring all the sinful men to him immediately upon death. After bringing them within his jurisdiction, he properly judges them according to their specific sinful activities and sends them to one of the many hellish planets for suitable punishments. This is one of the most interesting section of Bhagavatam, where most of us are very much interested to know about the hellish planets. So this chapter, the description of the hellish planets, from text 1 to 3, we have read about the ignorant actions that lead to hellish planets. In this section, from verses 4 to 6, we've been talking about Yamaraj and the location of the hellish planets and Pitralok. And from tomorrow onwards, which is from verse 7 till verse 36, there will be description of 28 hellish planets and the punishments, which is another interesting aspect of this chapter. From 37 to 40, the Virat Roop of understanding the Virat Roop, it increases the understanding of Lord's spiritual form. So we've read that why the living entities, when Parikshit inquired why are the living entities put into different material situations, it means why the living entities are put into different material planets. And hence to this question of Parikshit Maharaj, the Shukadev Goswami replies that according to the faith of the worker or Shraddha of the worker in one of the three modes, which is goodness, passion, and ignorance, varieties of destinations are obtained for different actions that are performed. And according to the extent of his ignorance, the worker or the living entity engages in the forbidden acts of adharma and is placed in different grades of hellish planets or hellish life. Because of this ignorance, everyone has been carried away by various desires, as Srila Prabhupada in this purport also mentions that it is due to the different modes into different hellish planets. So Parikshit inquired about these hellish planets. Are they on earth, outside the universe, or within the universe? So Srila Shukadev Goswami replies in yesterday's verse and today that the hellish planets are located in the intermediate space between the three worlds and the Garbhodaka ocean, which is on the southern side of the universe. Pitralok is also located in this region, and when desiring blessings for their family members, the Pitras are headed by Agnishwat Vata, and they meditate in great samadhi on the Lord. This today's section is talking about Yamaraj, who's the king of the Pitras, and he's the son of the sun god. He resides there in Pitraloka, and his agents are the Yamadutas, who bring to Yamaraj all the sinful men immediately upon their deaths, and he then judges them and sends them to suitable hells in accordance with the Lord's orders. And in the beginning of this chapter, Srila Prabhupada has given a synopsis of different hells here, which is very beautiful, where Shukadev Goswami here describes in this the following 28 hells, which is Tamishra, अंधता मिश्र रौरवा महारौरवा कुंभीपाक कालसूत्र अशीपत्रवना सूकरमुख अंधकूपा कृमिभोजन सदंश तप्तसूर्मी व्रजकांतका शाल्मली वैतारणी पुयोदा प्राणरोधा विशसना लालभक्षा सारमेयदना अविची अयः पान शरकर्दर्म रक्षो गणभोजन शूलप्रोत दंडशूका अवत निरोधना Prayavartana and Suchimukha. So these hells are explained in further detail in the following texts from tomorrow. So this is very interesting subject, and we are discussing this very important section, which is also about not only about Yamaraj, but also about karma and the consequences of our actions. And this is always an intriguing subject for most of us. And understanding from that aspect where these subjects may sometimes seem very heavy, but actually they're very practical. And as they are practical, they are meant to bring clarity to our life in the sense that that we at least have the knowledge to discriminate what it is. So I'll just quickly see this verse again from where Krishna has confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Karmano hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanas cha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. So the Lord says that the working of these karmas are very hard to understand. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Therefore, it's not an easy game. The rules are really tough. So let us try to understand what is this system today. Let us have a little bit of exploration around the space about what is the system of karma, who is Yamraj, and most importantly, what does it mean for us? For how are we living today? So the very first point Srila Prabhupada establishes here in the purport is Yamraj is not a fictitious or mythological character. He has his own abode. So understanding that this is understanding Srila Prabhupada's purport, he has clearly established that Yamraj is not a mythological character. And this means that he's not imaginary. Hell is not imaginary. Most of us might have this understanding that the heaven and hell, everything is here in our lives. Yes, to some extent, it is true. However, when the Shastra is saying that there exists hell, then there definitely exists hell. So one of the in most of our modern understanding, we don't see something that we don't see immediately. We kind of dismiss it. Why we dismiss it? Because if we are not able to perceive it from our own information or limited perception. So Vedic system of learning or Vedic knowledge, let's understand this. It doesn't depend on our limited perception. What it is it is. So if we don't see, for example, if we don't see the law of gravity, how many of us don't accept that there's this law of gravity? There is the law of gravity, even if we want to accept or we don't accept. But we generally accept it because we see the effects. We have understood the effects and it's pulling us. So we may not see Yamaraj. Similarly, in this, bringing this understanding on a parallel platform, we may not see Yamaraj, but we may definitely experience the results of the karma which we are enjoying or suffering. So, Shastra, Srimad Bhagavatam, describes that Yamaraj is a real personality who lives in Pitraloka. This means he has an abode, and he's one of the Mahajans. He's a great authority, and Mahajans are the great authority in devotional service. Now, we often have this imagination of seeing Yamaraj as a demon or having a figure. So he's not a cruel figure, or he's not some cruel figure. Nowhere it is mentioned like that he's a cruel figure. He's actually a devotee of the Lord who is carrying out Lord's um, orders. He's so therefore he's carrying out a very, very responsible service. And since Yamaraj is the uh, manager of the system of universal justice, everything has to go through him. So let's understand how the system of hellish planets work. So when a person dies, it's not in the text. It says that when one dies, um, it's not that everything ends. In some of the understanding, we think that there's no word called karma. We just finish it, and there's nothing called past life and future lives. So how can that be possible? Because if we are just the gross body, then how are we acting through gross body? So the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego, which is false ego, it carries all the impressions of past, present. And uh, Srila Prabhupada explains that Yamaraja's assistants, the Yamadutas, bring the soul for judgment. This means that since we have those impressions, we definitely have the understanding as well. What have I done in my life? So this judgment is not it's not arbitrary. It's just it is extremely precise. If like a modern, let's understand the law of New Zealand, for example. So any modern court, there is evidence, there's records, there's witnesses, and nothing is lost in the universe. It's not that nobody is seeing us. Every action is recorded. So, based on one's actions, one is sent to appropriate situations, which is called appropriate planets, even hellish planets. But we consider it as punishment, but the role or the job or the idea behind this is correction. The punishment is not eternal, and everything is meant to reform us. So like the government who may not actually uh, who may put, let's say, who may put someone in prison. uh, the government is not doing this out of hatred. It is to correct the behavior of that particular person. So similarly, Yamaraj system works like that. The Yamaraj system is taking corrective, restorative measures. So let's understand it this way. Srila Prabhupada has actually mentioned one should understand the nature of karma, vikarma, and akarma, and one must act accordingly. So, what is this karma, vikarma, and akarma? Karma is this is basically all the heart of discussion around this chapter, which means karma. Uh, if we understand karma properly and akarma properly, then we probably know what vikarma is. So, karma means regulated actions. So when we talk about regulated actions, we we mean that doing our duties, uh, doing our duties according to Shastra, according to the instructions of the Guru, and uh, the possibility of being around sadhus. So let's understand this. Regulated action, if we put that as regulated action, it means the action, it's just not the action, it's the action, the intention, and the consequence that is attached to it. So it's just not what we're doing externally, it is what my intention is, why we do it, and how we do it, where the consciousness. And with these two, intention and the consciousness of the why and the how we do things, the action leaves a subtle imprint. And this imprint, for example, let's understand this from the perspective of using a knife. Uh, so when two, for example, two people are doing the same action, but they're creating different karmas. These two actions can be using a knife. A surgeon cuts a body. He's using the knife to save life. Therefore, there will be no sinful reaction. But a criminal cuts a body using violence. There is a heavy reaction to it. So these two action, the same action of using a knife looks same externally, but there is different intention and different consciousness behind it. So action, intention, and consequence takes us into the space of how we are to be, how karma could be understood. So they may look externally the same, but there is internally different karmas. So it is a law. It is not just a belief. Most of us understand karma as like, oh, Hinduism or Indians, or particularly some group of people follow karma. So this is not belief. It's a law. It's the law of nature. So karma is a law, and most of the uh, in fact, one of the most important point to understand here is that karma does not believe or does not depend on our belief system. It is an operating mechanism. Whether we want to accept it or we want to deny it, it doesn't change. So every action produces a reaction. It is the law. And Srila Prabhupada has often emphasized this in many of his lectures, that we are not independent, we are completely under the laws of nature, the material modes of nature. So basically, karma works in three sections, which is it it has immediate reaction. For example, if we touch fire, hand burns. Uh, this is instant reaction of an action. Sometimes some reactions are delayed reactions. It comes later in life. It can be the kind of lifestyle we may have, the action which is involved here will give health consequences, for example. And future life reactions can be like stored in the karma bank, or how that is stored in the karma bank. It is stored in the subtle body, and it manifests in some way or the other. So this also explains the fact that why good people suffer this, why good people suffer and bad people enjoy. So because most of us, or because many of us experience different layers of karma in many different ways of life. So it's like a karma, it's like we can understand it as a banking method. So every action is like a deposit and or withdrawal, and we carry these accounts across lifetimes, not one. And there are pious credits and sinful debits. And if we have those credits, we enjoy. If we have those debits, pap, which we say we suffer. So, however, karma keep us bound in the material world, which is not a good thing. Uh, it's not that good karma will liberate us and it will take us back to Godhead. So, understanding this aspect of karma, uh, it is like, being a good citizen, but still in the prison. We are comfortable, but we are still inside the prison. Vikarma is sinful actions. This means vikarma means going against the law of nature, to doing something wrong. Actually, the right and wrong things. Law does not accept certain things, and this is if we actually see, the modern society is running or following or heading towards that direction by having this understanding of I'll do whatever I want to. Mm, Nature doesn't work that way. Nature has the laws, and every living entity has to follow, which is quite fascinating because if we observe, we see that animals, they'll not work anything against nature. They'll never store food. Uh, they'll store food when it is under the sequence of nature, but they'll never hoard. Apart from this, those tendencies are not there in animals because they are very much aligned with nature. Um, Therefore, no karma for them. And they keep going according to they don't accumulate karma, but they're just living those credits of or debits of those karmas. So when we violate, especially for sense gratification, uh, through vikarma, we create that suffering. So we can't actually blame the Lord for this. And Srila Prabhupada has repeatedly emphasized the four pillars of sin, which is again one of the important regulative principles that is taken upon as a vow uh, during initiation. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. These are not just moral rules, these are the laws of nature. Because if we come above this, we start creating good karmas, and from good karmas, the information and the knowledge through Shastra, Sadhu Sangha, and Guru, we understand what karma is. So devotees, they come to this platform of transcendental action, which is karma. And karma is a very, very special place. It's a very special system. And and it is designed to to free us from the system of karma and vikarma. So, karma means acting in such a way where there is no reaction to our actions. And because we are bound and stuck in the material world, how can that happen? How is that possible, even? It is possible because the Shastras are giving this evidence that when we act for Krishna's pleasure, not our own pleasure, we are in the akarma mode. So, cooking and offering to Krishna, chanting his names, serving devotees, externally it may look like an activity, but spiritually it produces no bondage. Therefore, Krishna in the end of Bhagavad Gita very strongly emphasizes that Sarvadharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshaya ishyami mashucha. Don't worry about this. In the sense that keep going, keep serving the Lord, and it may look like an activity which is just an activity, but spiritually it is producing no bondage in this material world. Therefore, the concept of back to Godhead and all these uh, come into that understanding of uh, how not to be bound in this space of karma. Uh, so why karma is so complicated? Uh, uh, Krishna himself says that it's very deep, it's very complicated. The intricacies of actions are very hard. And the answer is um, one small action can actually produce long-term results, and reaction may come just now, immediately, or after many lifetimes, and we have no clue about it. And actions are often mixed. They are some good, some bad, and the the bestest part of all this system is we are under the influence of Maya. We are under the jurisdiction and the superintendency of Maya. Maya does very does some Maya does something very interesting. And the interesting part here is it makes wrong things look right and right things look really inconvenient. Therefore, we that's why we always need the guidance of Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Because outwardly it may seem that um, am I doing right? Am I this? If this is a situation, how am I about to? If we have those questioning propensity from the Guru, Shastra, and Sadhus in a very humble mood, we understand that we can understand the working of the Maya, which means it makes wrong things look right and the right things look inconvenient. Because of that inconvenience, we are stuck in the cycle of repeated birth and death. Why? Because right things are very difficult to do. So Srila Prabhupada even here says that we by the influence of Maya, the conditioned soul remains infatuated with the mode of ignorance. Srila Prabhupada has used this word infatuated beautifully because it's a temporary attraction. And this temporary attraction that is in this understanding of the mode of ignorance, we are always comfort seekers, we are convenient seekers. So therefore there's the situation of instant sense gratification, and it's really being idealized in the modern world. So because of this, we are in the tragedy of repetition. And in this tragedy of repetition, even after punishment, we are still lured to be able to continue in these sinful cycles. And I'm reminded of a very good example on a cigarette box. I'm sorry I'm taking this example, but it's very commonly understood. On the box of that cigarette, it is clearly written, smoking is injurious to health. Anyone who is smoking very well knows, he's not ignorant of the fact that smoking is harmful, but he still continues. So we know that certain habits are very destructive, but we still continue. Why is that so? It is because where Srila Prabhupada is writing, by the influence of Maya, however, the conditioned soul remains infatuated with the mode of ignorance. So this mode of ignorance, this tamogun, is very strong. And because of its heavy black cloud, the living entities remain in ignorance and loses clarity. So therefore, the mode of ignorance, there's also this habit and conditioning. We, because we are having such repeated actions, which is having very strong imprint on our minds, it has created deep grooves in the mind and forgetfulness. We forget the suffering of the past very quickly. Like, for example, if we have toothache and sweet is not, we will avoid sweets at all costs because we are in extreme pain and we desperately need treatment. Once we are back into our form and the pain is gone and it's just very normal now, we go back to eating sweets as much as possible. So we forget past sufferings very quickly. And most importantly, Maya. Maya covers the reality and keeps us attached to the temporary enjoyment. However, where Krishna is, there is no Maya. So Srila Prabhupada's message here is the cycle is a continuous cycle: sin, suffering, forgetfulness, and sin again. So Srila Prabhupada is trying to tell us that human life is meant for understanding. Why? Because of the higher consciousness. It is not a casual life. It is that chance to become free. So sense gratification is the root problem. Um, but does it mean that we stop eating, we stop living? No. It means as long as my life is centered on my enjoyment, we remain bound. And regulative principles then become a mercy for us because these rules may sound restrictive, but actually they're protecting us. So, bhakti is the only solution to fight the causes of Maya. So, I remember one disciple of Srila Prabhupada said, uh, where Srila Prabhupada mentioned that he's still afraid of Maya. Doesn't mean that Srila Prabhupada is afraid of Maya. He is, he he has he's being empowered by the Lord. How can he be afraid? However, to set an example for all of us as devotees or the practitioners of the devotional life, we must be afraid of Maya because we don't know how Maya will attack us. So bhakti is the only solution. Um, it's Bhakti is not to become better materially. Most of us understand the Lord as there's this. I turned on the TV at the other day, and on the local channels there was this. The Lord healed me, so I came into Lord. It was very fascinating for me to read or to just be in that space for a few moments to understand that how we are very much into that reciprocal exchange. Like, if you do this for me, even with Lord, we are doing this. So, with bhakti, the purpose of bhakti is not to become better materially, but become transcendental to the material modes of nature. And only Krishna consciousness uh, Krishna consciousness can break this cycle because in our consciousness, when Krishna enters, we get infected by the consciousness of Krishna. So let's have how can we then apply Krishna consciousness into our lives? Uh, we can have an honest self-reflection. Where am I in this spectrum? For example, karma, vikarma, or akarma. Um, and there's a gradual purification, and there shouldn't be any judgment around anyone who's practicing vikarma because he's stuck in the mode of ignorance. In that space, we who are stuck in the mode of ignorance, we can take gradual purificatory steps, which means let's reduce vikarma, then stabilize in karma, and then rise to akarma. Uh, and that can happen with our daily spiritual activities, which is very simple but very powerful. Uh, mm, Chanting Hare Krishna, it is simple, but it is very powerful. However, we may say it's simple because our mind is not allowing us. The modes are placing us into this left, right, center situations. we can still try to chant properly. We can still try while we can hear Srimad Bhagavatam and then chant properly. And association with devotees, the like-minded devotees, is very, very important. When we spiritualize our daily life, we must not separate spirituality as different aspect of life. Krishna consciousness and makes us understand that spirituality is not separate. It's the lifestyle. Cooking, working, speaking, eating, writing, watching, anything. Everything can become a karma if everything is connected to Krishna. So I'll conclude giving a quick understanding again, having a quick summary around this, that the purpose of this description of Yamaraj is not basically to frighten us. It is to wake us up from the slumber, and understanding that these are laws, these are not beliefs. There's a system, there's an accountability, but doesn't mean that we have to be stuck. There is a solution too. And the solution is very merciful and simple in this age given to us um, by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and followed by in the lineage is the chanting of the holy names, which Srila Prabhupada has spread lovingly to the world. And the real problem is not going into hellish planets. The real problem is the being in the forgetfulness state of Krishna. So the real solution is actually to remember him, not to get afraid of hellish planets. It's redirecting us to remember Krishna, serve Krishna, gradually become free from this cycle of material births and deaths, and entering into different life cycles due to karma. Also, karma is not meant to frighten us. It is meant to give us education. I was reading about Jung's in Jung's philosophy. It says that until unless we face those situations, those situations keep coming back to us over and over again. It's because we haven't really faced it properly. So they'll keep coming, they'll keep coming. It is why things keep coming to us, because we haven't learned our lesson yet. So it is, karma is meant to educate us. And another important point here is when we are studying karma, or focusing, or researching on karma, vikarma, akarma, the goal is actually not to be fearfully seeing the Lord. And in Krishna consciousness is not meant to improve our karma. It is meant to, Krishna consciousness is meant to free us from this entirely. So why are we stuck to think that we should make good karmas? We'll still be in the cycle of this birth and death. So therefore, this by going back to Godhead means, until and unless we are totally Krishna conscious, and in Krishna consciousness, we are not thinking about good activities, or it will give me or earn me good things. Till then, it's just a practice. But however, Krishna also says, as long as we are in the remembrance of Krishna, we are protected. So with this, I'll stop here, and if there's anything anyone wants to comment or add, or please feel free. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you very much for explaining the verse so nicely. So one thing came in my mind that in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada in his introduction has told about 5 things Bhagavad Gita deals with. And one of the important things was karma, or activities or actions. It's what we do. And these activities, when it is done for Krishna, that doesn't bind us. Otherwise, and as the verse here is mentioned here, karmano vibodhan, there are three things that told: karma, karma, and bikarma. So the bikarma is the action done for the service of the Lord, and that has no that has no binding for us in this material world. And if I can remember, I think the first verse of Bhakti, 6.1, it says about that anasrita karma phalam karyam karma karoti yo sasannashis yogisha no niragni no kanya. That means one who does his activities without being attached to the results, he is a real sannyasi, and not that who doesn't do anything and thus wants to be detached from the world. So it is not possible. We have, so long we live in this material world, we have to do our activities. But when it is acted in favor of the Lord, as has been prescribed by the Lord, in fact, dharma tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So it is the law of the Lord. That is dharma. Dharma is not a manufactured thing, as Prabhupada has optimum number of times have told in various places. Dharma is not a manufactured thing. It is the rule of the Lord. And in fact, here also, as I mentioned earlier, that Jamraj is here also, is performing his duty only. And he is a faithful servant of the Lord. And in fact, he is an Odhikari devotee of the Lord. He has been empowered by the Lord to do that activities. So whatever he is doing, he is only executing the orders of the Supreme Lord. So he is performing dharma. And in fact, if we see the description, when Ajamil was died in the first place, the Jamadutas came, but they were prevented by the Vishnudutas. But at the time, Jamadutas, while explaining this to his disciples, he also told them that dharma, he initially, I think, 6.3, it is 6.3, 20, 21, these are, in 20 it says about the 12 Mahajanas, and 21st it says, Dadashite Vijanimo Dharmam. But that he is telling, these people know what is dharma. So we have to learn dharma from these Mahatmas. By knowing them, by knowing this dharma, we can make our life sublime and perfect, because human life is a very responsibility, as we have mentioned very often and many times. And so we have to make our life successful only by doing our activities, because we cannot be free from our activities in this material world. We have to do it always. We have to do it in such a way that we always do for the service of the Lord. Then we'll be detached from the material world. And ultimately, when we are attached to the Lord, ultimately the Lord will take care of us and we can go back to the Godhead. And in fact, a devotee never wants to go back to Godhead. That automatically ensures him by the Lord because of his service to the Lord. And I think that is what is my realization of the verses. So thank you once again for your very nice class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the wonderful realization. It's so beautifully explained in very few words. Thank you. If there are no further comments or anything to say, we can stop here, Prabhuji.
It appears no other person to make comments. So thank you once again for your very nice class. And the class may be concluded. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyo
एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
Yo
वैष्णवेभ्यो
Vaishnava,
नमो
Namo
नमः
Namo.
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय
Jai.
ग्रेस राधा पद्मा माता जी
Radha
की
Padma
जय
Devi ki
Jai.
jai.
गोपाल की
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Premanande Hari
हरि
Hari.
हरि बोल
Bol.
All glories to assembled devotees.
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Have a lovely rest of the day.